Hi, good day everyone. My name is Izel Joy Cafe, and in this video, I'll be discussing my assigned topic, which is about epithelial tissue, including its functions and its classifications. But before I start discussing, I would like to apologize ahead kasi yung mga manok namin sobrang iingay talaga, as in kanina pa, and hindi ko sila kayang mapatahimik. So if you guys heard them, just please try to ignore them, and yeah, I'm really sorry. So let us now start the discussion. So yung katawan ng tao or the human body is made up of 4 types of tissues, and isa na dito yung epithelial tissue, which is going to be the center of our discussion. So epithelial tissue is also called as epithelium. So siguro para mas madali siyang maintindihan, think of it as a covering material of the body. So for example, when we're looking ourselves in the mirror, most of what we see, karamihan sa nakikita natin is yung epithelial tissues. Bakit? Kasi yung visible part ng skin natin, or yung epidermis, which is the outermost layer of our skin, is an example of epithelial tissue. So it acts as a cover to our body surface. So epithelial tissues, what are they? They cover and protect surfaces both outside and inside the body. So saan ba natin sila makikita? Again, sa surfaces ng katawan natin, including din sa surfaces ng mga body organs natin. Now, let's proceed to the discussion of the different characteristics of epithelial tissues. So, I'm going to cite 6 major characteristics of epithelial tissues. So, first, epithelial tissues are mostly composed of cells. So, yung epithelial tissues are consisting almost entirely of cells. So, yung epithelial tissues, binubuo siya halos lahat ng mga cells. Second one, epithelial tissues covers body surfaces. So epithelial tissue provides covering to our body. But remember na it doesn't only cover surfaces outside the body, but also on the inside. Like mostly our organs in the body are covered with epithelial tissues. Like for example, yung heart natin, it has epicardium, which is the outer layer of the heart. So epicardium is an example of epithelial tissues. Meron ding epithelial I'm sorry for the talking. Okay, so yung lungs natin, meron din siyang epithelial tissues, yung liver, yung blood vessels, other hollow organs, pati rin yung different cavities of our body, yung linings of the mouth. So all of this are made up of epithelial tissues. So hindi lang siya, yung epithelial tissues, it doesn't only cover surfaces from the outside of our body, but also on the inside. The third one is that epithelial tissues have distinct cell surfaces. So yung cell surfaces ng epithelial tissues are distinct or unique. So nagkakaiba-iba sila. They have different looks, they have different compositions, and they also perform different functions. The next characteristic of epithelial tissues is that they have matrix connections. So yung epithelial tissue, they have attachment, or they contact with each other to bind epithelial cells. Another is that epithelial tissues are non-vascular. So meaning they don't have their own blood supply. Wala silang sariling blood supply. So they have to get the nutrients from diffusion, like that. And lastly, epithelial tissues are capable of regeneration. So if there are damaged cells or dead cells, then the epithelial tissues are able to reproduce new cells. So kumbaga kaya nilang ma-repair yung sariling nasira. Diba? Isn't that amazing? So now that we're done discussing the different characteristics of epithelial tissue, ngayon pag-usapan naman natin yung functions of epithelial tissue. So ano ba yung functions ng epithelial tissue? Ano ba yung gamit niya? Ano ba yung silbi niya? Mahalaga ba siya or patapon ba? Char. Yan ang manok namin. So epithelial tissues, they have 5 major functions. First is for protecting underlying structures. So for example, yung skin natin, the outer layer of our skin protects the underlying structures from abrasion or from gasgas, from want. So yung skin natin is pinoproteksyonan niya yung mga inner structures para hindi sila ma-damage. Kasi kung ma-damage sila, mamamatay tayo. Hindi. Just kidding. Second one is epithelial tissues act as a barrier. So they form a barrier to keep different body systems separated so that they can go about their own function without interfering other organs' function. So, like for example, yung heart natin, meron siyang epicardium, so it has barrier. The heart can go about its own function without interfering other organs' function. So, yung lungs din it can go about its own function without interfering the heart. So, kumbaga, hindi nila magugulo yung isa't isa, di ba? Hindi sila makakadisturbo because they have their own, barrier. And like another examples that our skin also acts as a barrier. So, our skin prevents many toxic or harmful substances from entering our body. Kasi kapag pumasok yung mga harmful substances na yan, mamamatay tayo. No, just kidding. So, another function of epithelial tissues is that they permit the passage of substances. So, inaalaw ng epithelium yung mga substances to move through it or dumaan sa kanya. So, for example, the carbon dioxide and the oxygen are exchanged between the blood and the air. Between the blood and the air by diffusion through the epithelium in the lungs. Another function of epithelial tissues is that they secrete substances. For example, yung mucus gland and sweat glands are composed of epithelial cells which releases. So, nagsisecrete sila or they release their products onto surfaces or different parts of our body. And the last function of epithelial tissues is that they absorb substances. So, since nasa surface sila, another important function nila is to absorb different substances, important substances and nutrients sa katawan natin. So, yeah, that's it. So, I hope by this time na-appreciate nyo naman kahit kunti lang yung kahalagahan ng epithelial tissues natin. Kasi they also play a big role sa katawan natin in keeping us alive. This time, let's talk about the classifications of epithelial tissues. So, epithelial tissues are classified into two types. First is based on their appearance or based on their shape, and second one is based on the number of layers. So first, let's talk about the classification of epithelial tissues based on their appearance or based on the cell shape. So it has three types. Okay, so it has three types. Let us not make this complicated. Very simple lang siya. Merong flat lang, parang flat and straight line. Second one is parang mga cube shaped, and the third one is parang mahaba siya and column. So, tatlo lang sila. So, yung una is called squamous. The cells are flat and thin. So, flat lang siya, parang straight lang siya, and thin, manipis siya. So, it's like, scale-like daw siya, parang kaliskis ng mga isda, but I really don't think so. So, okay. The second one is cuboidal. Cuboidal, I believe is how you pronounce it. But, from the term cuboidal, parang cube. So, yeah, if the shape is parang mga cube siya, then that is considered as cuboidal. So, yung width and yung height niya are just the same. So, parang mga cube niya. Cuboidal. And the third one is called columnar. So, columnar, this is an example of columnar. Parang mga column nga siya, mahaba siya, mataas siya, but they're not really that wide. So, parang mga column nga siya kapag we're making tables, diba? When we're making tables, may mga column siya. So, yun yung itsura niya, parang may mga column siya. So, that is considered as columnar. So, yun, tatlo lang. Kapag manipis and flat, that is called squamous. Kapag parang mga cube siya, that's cuboidal. And the last one, kapag parang mga column, that is called columnar. Squamous, cuboidal, and columnar. So, very simple. Let us not make this complicated kasi sabog yung utak natin. So, tapos na nating pag-usapan yung classification of epithelial tissues based on their shape or appearance. Ngayon naman, let's talk about the classification of epithelial tissues based on the number of cell layers. So, meron din siyang three types. The simple epithelium, the stratified epithelium, and lastly, the pseudostratified columnar epithelium. So, let's make this simple again. Let's not make this complicated. So, first one is the simple epithelium. It consists of one layer of cells. So, kapag yung layer ng cells is isa lang, then that is considered as epithelium. That is called epithelium. So, kapag isa lang yung layer niya, like this, then that is simple epithelium. Pangalawa is stratified epithelium. The cells have more than one layer. So, kapag yung layer niya is dalawa na, or tatlo, or apat, or marami na siyang layers, then that is called stratified epithelium. So, kapag multi-layered na, again, that is stratified epithelium. Kapag isang layer lang, simple epithelium. And lastly, dito yung masyadong complex kasi parang fake siya kasi this is called pseudostratified columnar epithelium. So, it appears as if like it's stratified epithelium, pero hindi kasi isa lang yung layer niya. But the thing here is that it has varying forms. Magulo yung shape niya, wala talaga siyang fixed na shape. Halimbawa, malaki yung sa taas, maliit sa ibaba, and marami lang siyang shape. So, kapag yung structure ng cell is, or yung structure or shape ng cells is masyado siyang magulo, masyado siyang complicated, then that is called pseudostratified columnar epithelium. So yun lang yung classification nila. Kapag isa lang yung layer, that is called simple epithelium. Kapag dalawa na or marami na yung cell layers niya, that is called stratified epithelium. And kapag magulo or it has varying forms, then that is called pseudostratified epithelium. So that's the end of my discussion. Alam ko sobrang gulo, sobrang ingay, but I hope na may naintindihan kayo kahit konti lang. So yun, God bless you all and bye!